Imagine, if you will, a world without Stan Ferguson. A world where Michael M. Rader is, in fact, the DM of They See Me Rolling. You are about to enter They See Me Rolling, but without Stan. I'm not Stan. I'm Michael M. Rader. You may remember me from the role of Garbager. Stan has been he's been grabbed by the ghoulies. It was a terrible thing.
Abducted by ghosts.
Strung up by those ghoulies.
I didn't know that ghosts charged ransom money.
Yeah.
But it's what's happening.
But it's not very much.
I've also heard that ghosts can't do it, which is...
That's a lie. That is an absolute lie. They can do it with each other.
And I mean, I have seen Ghost.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That ghost did it.
They can do it using Whoopi Goldberg, and only Whoopi Goldberg.
Not to mention that ghost in Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
Again, once again, Ivan steals my jokes, but whatever.
Stan is absent, so he asked me, Michael M. Rader, if I could DM a very special, spooktacular episode of They See Me Rolling, and I begrudgingly accepted.
So this is like a non-canon adventure, right?
This is actually canon. I ran the rough idea by Stan. I mean, we're gonna call it a loose canon, but it is kind of canon nonetheless. Yeah. We might need to take the gun and badge away from this campaign, but it's
non-stanon, but it's canon.
Yeah, it's got a desk job now.
Damn it gets results.
This campaign actually takes place on day one of the Landy World adventure, just after the Mobsies catastrophe, but before you get on the loopy-loop and lose time. So it takes place in that little bit of time.
Okay, so we're hanging out, getting hot dogs.
This is like Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina level of shoehorning shit in. Just like...
Yes, it is, but it will all make sense in the end.
On the hell out of this.
Skumk is eating a corn dog.
Yes, you've just stepped off of Mobsie's catastrophe. You had a near-death experience.
Oh, Coen has a giant fairy floss, and it's all over his face.
Yes, fairy floss, corn dogs.
Like a cat.
Nobody has weapons, and Garbager, the beloved goblin, addresses
everyone's favorite character.
Also, Garbager is very handsome now. The DM has established that he's very handsome and buff and much taller than the average goblin.
Hey, Garbager, come here for a second.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I take his hand gently in mine. Say, do you trust me?
No.
Good. I slice his throat. Then I stare menacingly into the camera. Disappear in a cloud of smoke.
Woo!
And then we flash back, and that's one of those
that's a dream sequence.
It was all a dream.
It's like a pre-credits stinger.
Yeah, the camera zooms out, and we're actually in a theater in Landy World, and that's the beginning of a movie in this universe. Just like that tiefling looks a lot like me, guys.
And then a bunch of bats fly at the screen.
Garbager addresses all of you and says, that was a very intense and life-affirming experience that we just had a Mobsie's catastrophe in which we almost died. Now,
it was okay.
I understand that right now you feel like going and having to lie down, but that's simply succumbing to the horrors of reality and weakening your character. Might I recommend our horror attraction, High Rise of Horror? Psychologists have proven that horror narratives provide a useful framework for understanding and processing trauma.
The ride just tried to kill us, and you want us to go into a horror attraction? A haunted house?
Absolutely. Yes, it will help you understand what you just went through and give you a useful way to explain it to us. You can open up and talk to... I mean, this is just about riding the wave of life affirmation that we've all just experienced together.
Garbager, if there's any Barbadukes in there, I'm going to kill you.
I will absolutely promise you there is not a single Babadook.
All right, I'm in.
Everybody else in?
I'm pretty sure if there's anything I understand, it's pretty much the horror of life, but okay.
I think you are the horror of life, Skumk.
So
Thanks, Coen.
you all travel to the southwest corner of the park, which is conveniently the only part of the park you did not visit once during the Landy World arc. And as you get there, you see the high rise of horror, a looming brutalist eyesore that casts a cold shadow across the southwestern corner of the park, which actually blocks the sun from the lazy river during certain parts of the day. Cracked and crooked letters on the front of the tower read Landy World High-Rise Hotel, and there's a veneer of decay with scorch marks and crumbling fantasy concrete.
Okay, so
Jesus.
Michael,
Was
Yes.
this built in the 70s?
I'm just trying to get the aesthetic in my head. Are we talking
Mhm.
like, is this like German expressionism like Dr. Caligari, or is this like cheap like 70s like horror porn parody?
Oh, we're talking cheap 70s horror porn parody.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Now I can
Yeah.
I can almost smell it. It's I'm
Mhm,
there.
mhm.
Michael.
I think
there.
I can definitely smell it.
think California Tower of Terror, not Florida Tower of Terror.
Oh, I've never been to that one.
Well, I don't know. Look up a picture.
Uh,
Or maybe I got that backwards. Maybe I don't
Jelly
know.
pulls out her smartphone.
Does it look like it's full of Guardians of the Galaxies?
No. In fact, there are no guardians of any galaxies inside of this tower. It is, in fact, just a Tower of Terror that is Twilight Zone themed still. It's fantasy Twilight Zone.
Oh.
I make a perception check on the tower. Oh, wow. I rolled a critical 1.
So Coen tries to look at the tower, but accidentally looks at the sun, and is temporarily blinded.
And then he walks into a sign.
He walks into a sign, and he starts singing "I saw the sign,"
okay.
and it opened up his eyes.
Opened up my eyes.
While Cohen's doing that, Jelly just walks in.
Okay, and Skump rolled a 17. Skump, you notice that the decay of the tower is actually all fake, and it is a sturdy and well-constructed building that does not actually look as if it's crumbling.
You needed a 17 to get that.
Yeah, otherwise you would have been very spookified and thought it was actually collapsing.
Cohen still thinks it's collapsing.
Jelly, before you enter, a hooded figure stumbles into you
I punch him in
and
the face.
presses a piece of parchment into your hand. It gets punched in the face and staggers off into the crowd.
I look at the piece of parchment in my hand.
It's part of the job.
No, seriously though, I'm not just being a dick, because you know that during those in those haunted houses, like the really heavy ones, that those guys have everyone working there, doing the scares has to have been punched in the face at least once.
Oh yeah,
That would
absolutely.
be horrible.
Okay, so you look at the piece of parchment, and it's clearly very old and weathered, and it is marked with an Elvish script.
Oh.
Well, I can read that, so what does it say?
You attempt to read it because you can read Elvish, but it's some sort of obscure dialect that you cannot actually interpret. You recognize the letters, but not the words.
Well, you see, actually, here's where I got you, Michael, because Jelly actually majored in linguistics in college, so...
This is remarkably obscure.
But it was a master's
Jelly.
degree.
What are the letters?
Clearly, this is marking on parchment.
Okay.
You know,
All right, so what do you want to do with that piece of parchment that you can't read?
I want to know what the letters are.
I crumple it up and throw it away.
I pick it up and look at the letters.
All right. So is anybody going to hold on to that piece of parchment?
I am. Cohen is.
Okay, Coen holds on to the piece of parchment.
I don't know why you're holding on to that. None of us can read it.
So you go inside the high rise of horror, And inside the lobby is designed in a sort of nostalgic style reminiscent of the golden age of Landy World. Cobwebs hang in every corner, muting the already dim light coming from the barely burning hooded lanterns.
This is nice.
A portly red-faced human man, a surprisingly short elf with thick glasses, a powerful-looking half-orc woman in a white shirt and denim pants, two small twin human girls in blue and white dresses holding hands, and a long-eared mascot costume you don't recognize are milling around in the waiting area.
Elves don't exist in this universe, only drow.
Okay, a surprisingly short drow with thick glasses.
When the fuck have we ever cared about lore on this show? Like,
Yeah.
It's a human in an elf costume.
that's racist.
with little ear extensions.
Marble stairs curve up into the unlit reaches of the abandoned hotel, and next to that there's an entrance into a hallway lit with flickering torches. Words above the hallway read, Hellevator. A dwarf in a bright orange suit with a festive holiday gourds emblazoned across it greets you.
I hate all of this.
What does he say?
He says, Hello! I'm Davis F. Spaghetti Squash, and I'll be your guide and lift operator today.
I cannot tell you how much I hate this.
Oh no!
It looks like we have enough folks to start the ride.
I
I hope everybody brought their fright insurance before entering. Landy World isn't responsible for anyone getting scared to death in the high rise of horror. Now, before we enter, any inquiries?
I cast a lightning bolt at him.
I completely ignore this man, and I go and see if the cobwebs are real. Because I'm
You're going to have to roll a perception check on that.
in general, I am fascinated by the idea that somebody would purposefully make fake broken furniture and fake cobwebs. 24.
Okay. You notice that the cobwebs are all entirely fake and that actually the room is very clean. There are plastic spiders and other bugs nestled inside of the cobwebs, but you cannot eat any of them.
I tentatively put one in my mouth.
You take 1d4 No, it doesn't taste good. It's made with that special material that the Nintendo Switch cartridges are made from that make them actually taste awful.
And you know this because
you gotta lick them. Gotta lick them all.
you got like
So you can either mill around in this lobby area and get to know the other folks, or you can follow Davis F. Spaghetti Squash, or you can do whatever you want because this is Dungeons and Dragons.
I ask Spaghetti Squash.
Davis S. Spaghetti Squash, yes.
I don't care. Yes, I do have a question, and I point.
Yes.
My skin is crawling right now. I point to the half orc woman in white overalls. Say, what's her name?
Oh, I don't know any of their names. I try not to get too attached to the guests.
Okay, well, you're no help at all, and I just walk past him and approach the half-orc woman.
You approach the half-orc woman. you attach to her. And she looks up and, she gives you kind of she gives you a half-head nod and says, hey.
Jelly suddenly realizes she did not formulate a game plan for talking to this woman, and just kind of quickly, from the outside, it looks like she's having a spasm, but she's hurriedly trying to get in, a casual, cool, position, leans against the wall, and then, returns a head nod, says, sup.
The half-orc woman says, hey, I'm Sigrid Woven. I'm a soldier on vacation. Just figured I would check out this horror attraction. It's kind of stressful being a soldier, so figured I would help understand the framework of the horrors of my life by going on a horror attraction.
Yeah, tell me about it. Once you've taken the life of another living thing, it's it's really heavy and hard to work out,
Totally.
So when you're not soldiering, what is it you like to do? Got any hobbies?
I mostly like hibernating. Yeah.
Are half-orcs bears?
I like to sleep. Yeah.
Okay. I'm asking you, Michael.
Yeah. Half orcs are basically bears.
Cool.
Does anybody else want to get to know this cast of not so colorful characters? Or
Sure. What was the guy in jeans?
oh, that's the half orc
Oh.
woman is in jeans.
I can't remember
There
what it
is
was.
also a portly, red-faced human man. There is a surprisingly short drow with thick glasses. And there's 2 small twin human girls and a long-eared mascot
I'm going
that
to
you
the
don't
human
recognize.
and I walk up and I say, hey, have you been on this ride before?
No, I've never been on this ride before. Thanks.
Wow.
Wow, that's a very good impression of one of Stan's characters.
You might recognize me. Do you recognize me?
Are you Dom DeLuise?
Oh, I wish. No, you might recognize me as a street personality. Tom Larkas. Tom with an H.
Nope.
Billy on the street?
I'm a personality on the street. I like to stand out on the street and yell my opinions at people.
Like a town
I'm
crier?
well known. I mean, something of a town crier, but I'm more entertainment.
Sure. Hey, Tom, have the rides been trying to kill you in this theme park?
No, but let me tell you who has been trying to kill all of us. The women, am I right?
No, you're wrong. And I walk
Okay,
away.
Well, I'm always...
Jody. Okay, keep talking to him. I want to.
I'm always right.
I want to roll stealth right now to sneak up behind this guy. God damn it!
Is that a woman behind me? Is that a woman behind me? Get away from me!
Technically, no, but I don't think you'd really understand. But anyway, so tell me, how do you, Mr. What was your name again?
Tom Larkas.
And
That's Tom with an H.
Oh, you're one of the. Okay, sure. How do you feel about goblins?
Oh, goblins are fine as long as they're man goblins. The woman goblins, I just don't have any time for.
Okay, so Mr. Tom, tell me if you walked in on tell me if you walked in on like a unicorn.
I'm sorry, dear. Are you going somewhere with this?
Yes, I am. Okay, if you walked in on a unicorn and it was in bed with a goblin, and you had to just exclaim what the situation in front of you was, what would you say?
I would ask if I can join. Am I right? He holds up a hand to high five Coen.
Coen does not accept that hand.
I high five him and I cast Shock and Grasp.
Okay.
Like a joy buzzer.
No, it's automatic. I cast Shock and Grasp. It deals 1d8 damage.
Okay, so his hair frizzes up on end, and he goes, and then he's, his ears are smoking, and he's stunned for this round. Meanwhile, the creepy twins walk up to Skumk and Garbager, and they're holding hands with each other, and they point. And they sing a little song that goes like this. Goblins, goblins, they'll snatch you while you sleep. Goblins, goblins, they make your skin creep. They'll grab you by your nose, they'll grab you by your toes. They'll eat your little fingers just as everybody knows.
I got
When they're finished, I am holding hands with Garbager.
They wander off into a corner
and
just stare at you.
I'm gonna go over to the elevator.
Okay, I think
on it.
Well, there is a hallway leading to the elevator, but Davis F. Spaghetti Squash will lead you there if everybody's ready.
I'm still hanging out with Sigourney Weaver, and it's like
I'm sorry, Sigrid Wover. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm in a band. We
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's not a lot of people have heard of us, but I think that's because we're on some really kind of experimental stuff right now.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I still remember the time that my friend got her. I still remember her screams and the blood. I wake up at night.
I killed a security guard one time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he really didn't have any like political motivations or really any malice in his heart. Probably he was just doing his job.
So Davis F. Spaghetti Squash starts leading you down a long hallway.
Coen, give me that piece of paper.
Yeah, I hand him the piece of paper.
I uncrinkle the piece of paper. I write my number on it. I give it to her.
So Sigrid Wover looks at this and she doesn't actually see the side with the number on it and just tries to interpret the Elvish script. And she's like, this doesn't mean anything to me, and hands it back to you.
I don't realize that she was reading the other side. And I understand. I'm kind of a lone wolf myself, so but it's cool.
So
whatever.
Davis F. Spaghetti Squash leads all of you down a long hallway, the entire group. So along the walls, you can see that there are torches that are not lit with fire, but actually some sort of cold energy that flickers to emulate a real torch. And there are many more cobwebs in this hallway that hang low enough that you actually have to duck under them as you're going forward, except for Garbager and Skumk don't have to duck under these.
I hold Jelly's hand.
I'd still knock my head against it, but it really kind of just hits my horns, so I don't really feel it.
They're just hanging off your horns now.
As you continue onward, rubber bats fall from wires on the top of the ceiling.
I take one.
I reflexively cast a firebolt on all of them, and they just melt.
The cobwebs catch fire, and it's now a terrible situation. No.
Wow, what is there like? Is there like asbestos in these? What's that smell?
There's coffin and tombstones lining the walls with humorous phrases like "I'm a goner" and "bury 'em deep."
Bury 'em.
That's
deep?
Hilarious.
I'm trying to figure out the joke.
Coen, have you ever thought about what you'd want on your tombstone?
A cat. Picture of a cat.
That makes sense.
Can I have a cat on my tombstone too?
No, that's my thing.
Oh.
God damn it, Skumk. Cats are my thing.
A scrawny teenage halfling with fangs and a black cloak pops out of one of the coffins and shouts, "Bleh!" The short drow with thick glasses jumps.
So does Coen.
I just wave.
I toss the kid a gold piece and say, I would suggest finding a different career path.
Wow, thanks, ma'am.
Guys,
I appreciate this so much.
I'm loving this. This is so much fun.
I hope you enjoy your ride, sirs. All right, I gotta go back in my coffin now.
Nice to see you.
Mr. Spaghetti Squash is gonna yell at me.
What's it like working for Mr. Spaghetti Squash, young teenage boy?
He's really loud.
Cool. What's your name?
My name is Simon.
So is this like just like a seasonal gig for you, Simon, or is it or do you like have other jobs?
Well, I mean, I just haven't really figured out what I'm gonna do after high school yet. I mean, my dad wants me to go into a military academy, but
don't do that.
Yeah, I don't really want. I'm not really a fighting type, but I don't really want to do this for the rest of my life either.
I understand. So, listen, have you ever given any thought to exploring the arcane magical arts of butter making?
So at this point, Davis F. Spaghetti Squash is standing next to all of you. You didn't actually see him, and he says, "We've got to move on. Simon, get back in your coffin."
I love that you're Davis S. Spaghetti Squash and you're
Tom Larkas. I only have so many voices, guys.
All right, yeah, sure thing. Linguini.
Yes. It's just Simon backs inside of his coffin and closes the door, and you can hear him silently weeping inside.
I reach in my bag, I take out a stick of butter, and I just crack open the coffin just a little bit, and flick the stick of butter in there.
You hear eating noises.
And I pull out a card for Bast, and I say, if you ever want to take on a career in vengeance, just give her a call.
Wait, on the back of the card is a little comic book about how about raining down vengeance on your enemies, and how you shouldn't eat Halloween candy because it's from Tiamat.
in really cutesy artwork.
I'm glad of all the characters you have decided to spend time with. It was this one that I spent so much time thinking about the characterization on. So thank you for helping me explore Simon, the scrawny halfling.
Let's keep following David, Mr. Pumpkins.
So as you reach the end of the hallway, and the rest of you run past a few other boost scares that are just spring-loaded creatures that pop out of the shadows.
I really love them all.
You hear a soft cracking noise like twigs breaking somewhere up above you in the shadows, and I would like each of you to make a perception check.
14.
16.
14.
All right. You catch a glimpse of something red moving across the ceiling in a unnatural way, but it slips away into the deeper shadows before you can really make out what it is.
I think there's a fireman over there.
So eventually you reach the doors to the magic lift. And Davis S. Spaghetti Squash, the dwarf, raps twice on the lift doors, and they slide open. And Davis says, "Just a heads up to the magical folks on this ride. Due to the sensitive nature of the elevator machinery, we'll be dampening all magic using proprietary fantastigeneering technology on this ride. During this ride, you will not be able to cast spells or cantrips of any kind, although I can't understand why you'd want or need to. Thank you for understanding."
Okay.
So since the elevator doors are open now, your magic is already dampened. You feel your connection to whatever magical sources you have are still there, but you cannot manifest any.
I try my divine sense.
Okay. All right. I think that's fine.
All right. So what do I sense anything?
No.
Not even Davis?
Not even Davis.
I guess he's his own thing.
Before we go into the elevator, one quick question.
Elevator, please.
What kind of decorations are there in the hallway that we in like the vicinity we're in right now?
It's still just cobwebs and rubber bats and fake bugs.
Okay, I want to steal like the biggest armful of cobwebs that I can find.
Okay, that's fine. I won't even make you do a roll on that. You can take as many cobwebs as you want, as you can carry.
It now looks like I'm pregnant because it's just my shirt is just bulging with cobweb.
I walk into the elevator.
So inside the elevator, there are 3 rows of seats with 4 seats in each row. One of those in the front closest to the door has a lever next to it, and that's where Davis S. Spaghetti Squash sits. So he takes a seat. And the other guests
beside Davis.
Okay. The other guests move forward and take their seats, spreading out to keep all of you from sitting close together because they're jerks.
I sit as close to Sigourney Weaver as possible.
So that leaves an open seat in the back row between the portly man and the creepy twins. There is also 2 open seats in the middle. You can either sit between, the drow and Sigrid Wover, or you can just sit next to Sigrid Wover. I'm going to guess that's where Jelly sits next to the half-orc.
Hell yeah.
Who's beside me?
Yeah, so you are sitting next to Garbager, and next to Garbager is the mascot with long ears that nobody talked to.
He's just there silently. Wait, where am I sitting?
You can either sit in the back between the creepy twins and the horrible misogynist, or you can sit in the middle between Sigrid Bover the half-orc and the short drow with glasses.
I kind of didn't get a very good impression from the... very good first impression from either the twins or the horrible radio host. but I want to give them a second chance, so I sit with them.
I wave to the mascot and go, "Hey, who are you?"
Hello, I'm Jareth the Jerboa.
Jeroboa?
Jareth the Jerboa.
What kind of animal is that?
Oh, it's an animal with long ears and a long tail, and it kind of moves like a kangaroo mouth.
Who are you the mascot for?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to make it stick right now. I'm not totally licensed by the park, but I'm hoping.
Wait, I say from the back. Wait, are you? So you just put on a costume? Are you saying you just put on a costume and walked into the park?
There's no law against it. They can't stop me.
I mean,
they've tried, but I've taken them to court. They cannot stop me.
I have so many questions. Okay, let's start from the beginning. What was your childhood like?
I respect his spunk.
I mean, in many ways, it was a very normal childhood, but in kind of a sense, that's a trauma in and of itself because it makes one very, very dull. You know, if you try to get into the arts, you just don't have a lot of, you just don't have that kernel of trauma that many other artists use to inform their art. So I feel like I just don't have a base to work off of. But I'm trying. God damn it, I'm trying.
Did you?
You know what? Wearing that costume, you're gonna get plenty of trauma.
As you were going through puberty, did you suddenly start hurting small animals?
I would never hurt animals. It's the humans that need to be hurt. I've said too much.
Well, I'm fine with that. No more questions.
I'm kind of hoping that all of these guys are going to get picked off one by one. But I want to know them all before I do. So I just kind of look over behind me.
Wait a minute, Michael. Are you? Is this the M. Night Shyamalan classic devil?
No, because clearly Coen did not sense any fiends or celestials inside of the elevator.
I just want to look behind at the drow and go, "Hey,
hi.
What's your deal?"
Oh, my deal is mostly just being timid. Timid and smart. I mean, that's really what most people have described me as. I mean, I don't really have friends per se, but I mean, the people who are aware of me, my colleagues, they would say he's timid and smart.
Cohen's already looked around back at the front.
If you wanna know my name and be my friend, it's Dick Morcandus.
So, Dick, on average, how many times a day do you say according to my calculations?
Oh, very rarely, because I don't actually study mathematics. I study weird science at the university, which really focuses mostly in the obscure arcane.
So how many sexy lady golems have you made?
Well, okay, I don't want to be judged for my answer, so will you promise me that you won't judge me for my answer?
Sure.
I won't judge you.
5. I made 5 sexy lady golems, but I'm very respectful to all of them.
So, okay. Are they like, okay, all right, follow-up question.
They've all rejected me.
Are they all, like, do they look the same, or are they different, like...
They're absolutely identical, every single one, but no matter how hard I try, they keep turning out like my mom, and I don't want them to look like my mom, but they do.
Okay, second follow-up question. When you were a child, did you start hurting small animals when you were going through puberty?
I mean, when you do experiments, sometimes animals die. It just happens.
All right. Does the elevator start moving or something?
Please let this end.
So David Spaghetti Squash says, "Going up," and pulls the lever, and the elevator starts to rise. Slowly at first, but accelerating faster and faster. And then at the top, the doors open, and you can see out over all of Landy World. It's still in the early afternoon, so the park is sunny and cheerful, and you can see out to the center. You can see Pop Goes the World off in the distance, and you can see the entrance to the park, and everything looks fine. But then eerie music starts playing, and the elevator doors slam shut, and it goes into a free fall. During the free fall, the note that Jelly Butter, you're holding it right now, the piece of parchment.
Yeah.
It floats out of your pocket during the free fall and into the back of the elevator where Tom Larkass picks it up. Now, you reach the bottom of the free fall, the elevator stops and starts rising again.
I grab Davis and I say, "Was that supposed to happen?"
Yes. Yes, it was.
Oh, okay, good.
That's how the ride works.
You never can tell with these rides in Landy World.
Tom Larkass grabs the note, and while you're ascending, he looks at the script, and he says, I actually studied obscure languages at the university, and this kind of
what, like Klingon?
Yeah, Klingon was one of them. Also, Elvish, but the Elvish that was in those book series, not the real Elvish. And coincidentally, I studied a very obscure dialect of Elvish.
I'm actually surprised this is Tom and not the nerdy drow.
Oh, I know, right?
There you go.
I'm subverting expectations.
Layers.
This is exactly what Walt Whitman was thinking about whenever he wrote Leaves of Grass.
Precisely. I was thinking of Walt Whitman, yes. He says that it's from a very small vanished sect that lived in deep far corners of our continent, and they worshipped an elven goddess that they called the Woodsmith. And he reads the letter out loud and says, Wasuru and Zilu, Tiamatu, Warkanam, Umanate, Eremha, Samdu, Tabanusi, Buzur. Huh. That's weird. That translates to abandon hope, the abomination comes. Afterwards, the armies, the redwood bridles the world. Huh. Whatever. He crumples it up and throws it.
I don't know what it is, but something about that accent. Someone with that voice speaking Elvish.
So he crumples up the parchment and throws it across the elevator. But not long after, the elevator reaches its apex again, and it's about to go into free fall. But you hear a sizzling, sparking sound coming from above you, beneath a hatch in the ceiling. There's a purplish, greenish glow and some color that you don't actually have a description for. And outside the elevator windows, which have just opened up out on the park again, you see a star in the sky that you can actually see clearly despite it being daylight. And it grows and starts pulsing the same indescribable color as the one in the panel above you. And it arcs towards the ground, screeching through the air. And just before it hits the center of the park, the elevator doors slam shut. There's an explosion outside and the entire building shakes. I want everybody to make a Constitution saving throw.
Constipation saving throw. You guys all get +4 to your saving throw because of my...
Oh, cool.
14.
11.
30.
Holy crap.
30.
All right. So, Skumk and Coen both take 1d6 damage.
Oh. I grab David S. Pumpkins again and I say, was that supposed to happen?
No, it wasn't. I'm gonna drop my character for a moment and say that that was a very disturbing sight that I just saw out there. This is not normal. So the lights in the elevator go out and you are trapped in the darkness. But after a moment, a blinking blue emergency light starts flashing, so you can briefly see flashes of what's happening. Davis F. Spaghetti Squash reaches down beneath him and unlatches the belt that's holding him in place. He takes the belt and the shoulder straps off, and he jumps up and he goes over to the elevator door. And he starts prying it open. And you actually see a strange thing, as if he has created I don't know what you would call like a reverse vice, like a spreader out of thin air. That's the same strange purplish greenish color, and he's using it to ratchet the elevator doors open. And he pries open the elevator doors just a smidgen, and he lets in an eerie glow of that same strange color. And he turns his head sideways to peek out of the crack that he's made in the elevator door. And he says, "I see something out there. It's oh God. It's moving. I feel wrong. I feel all wrong inside. And he collapses to the ground and starts convulsing. And you hear the wet sound of flesh rending and what sounds like bones snapping. And he screams, "I sure hope no one ever turns my characterization into a half-hour holiday special. I think that would be really bad."
You can say that again. Oh, hang on. No, you can't. What actually
Me
happened
too.
to him?
I hope nobody ever makes a half-hour Skumk holiday special.
I think that would have legs.
How did his flesh get rendered?
Ah.
Okay, so I go over and.
Well,
see
you
if I
are
can do
you are
anything
actually
for him.
still
I
strapped down.
I unstrap myself. Can I take
you
the...
actually cannot quite bend forward and reach the mechanism under your seat. The elevator is designed. Actually, I'll have Garbager explain it to you since he's here, and he can be my mouthpiece. Oh, I'm sorry, Coen. You're not going to be able to unlatch yourself. You see, the rides are designed so that only the operator can unlatch them, because we don't want kids or anybody foolhardy unlatching themselves during the ride. So Davis F. Spaghetti Squash was able to unlatch himself because he's the operator, but we can't actually reach the mechanisms under our seat.
All right, I'm gonna.
For the time being,
I'm gonna
we're
do
trapped.
a strength. I'm gonna do a strength check to see if I can rip this thing apart. I rolled a 17.
Okay, you burst out of the straps. Yeah, they break beneath your bulging muscles, just barely.
And I step over to Davis S. Spaghetti Squash, and I see if there's anything I can do for him.
So in the dim blue flashing light that illuminates the room, you look down. And where Davis F. Spaghetti Squash once was, you now see a long, thin humanoid with red skin like burnished cherry wood. It tries to stand up, its body cracking like snapping twigs and with every single movement. And it moves with slow, jerky motions, kind of like stop-motion animation, like old stop-motion animation, like a Harryhausen sort of like Clash of the Titans.
Hey, Davis, are you okay? You've changed.
It arches upwards, its head lolling backwards, and you can see that its eyes are large and black and dead, and its mouth is now just a jagged cut across where it used to be. And it tries to open its mouth, but it just can only open it a little bit, and it makes a horrible cracking noise, and you just hear...
Is the elevator door still open at all?
It is still open a tiny crack, and I would not recommend peeking out. As a DM, I would not recommend peeking out.
It's not open enough that I could jam its head through the door.
No, it's only enough that someone tilted their head sideways, they could peek out it.
Oh.
A calm voice comes on over the intercom, and it says, "This operation is now in debug mode." And the creature that was once Davis F. Spaghetti Squash, it starts climbing up the wall, and you can't see by what means it is able to attach to the wall and scale up it.
Can I grab it?
Yeah, you can try to grab it.
All right, I go for a grapple athletics roll.
Okay.
And I roll a 9.
So you try to reach up and grab it, but it slips out of your grasp, but you do brush it briefly, and you feel that his skin is cold, almost like ceramic. And it climbs up onto the ceiling.
I'm going to start helping. I want to start helping people get out of their seats.
Okay.
I'll start with Garbager.
The most important character.
I'm going to rip at it with Garbager helping. That would give me advantage.
I mean, at this point, you're in a standing position, so you
20.
could act. Okay, or you just rip it. Okay.
Oh,
So
can I?
no,
oh,
that's fine. You
can I
rolled a
free them?
22. Coen rips the belt off of the seat instead of reaching down and unclicking the mechanism.
I'm not the brains of the operation, guys. But Garbager is, so he should know what to do.
Garbager hops up and he goes, okay, well, the bad news is that none of this is exactly what should be happening right now, but the good news is the elevator is now in debug mode. And what that means is there is a new proprietary technology that this ride is running on that none of the others have actually adapted yet, using what's called a Godfrumda machine, after its inventor, Lionel Godfrumda. And you can actually create... this is mostly for the maintenance people, but you should be able to use this too. You can create tools and constructs just using your mind, if you have sufficient willpower. Some say the machine even has the power to warp reality.
I want to create a sword for myself.
Absolutely. So how this is going to work, as long as the elevator is in debug mode, you can now create anything you can think of as long as it doesn't have complicated mechanisms. Think Green Lantern powers.
I create a flower sieve.
A flower sieve? Okay, all right.
Yeah, when...
Now, when you use these things that you create, you're going to have to use skill checks. If it's something that's going to require some deftness, it will be a dexterity skill check. If it's going to require... strength, like a sword, it's going to be a strength skill check. So,
okay, so
Coen and Garbager are free, and Jelly has made a flower sieve.
I'm trying to wriggle out.
Garbager, how can we free these guys?
Well, there's a mechanism underneath the seats that really just works like a fairly simple latch. If you reach down and pull on it, it will unlock their.
I do what he says.
Skumk. You rolled a 10.
I rolled a 10 trying to just wriggle out.
You tighten the seat belts as you try to wriggle out.
I just shrug.
So Coen, you're moving around,
this is fine.
freeing people.
Yeah, I move around. I go. Oh, so you have to do it one by one. Okay, yeah, I go around and free them all.
Okay, everybody. Okay, so the creature that I'm just going to be calling the Stick Man from now on out is up on the ceiling. And at this moment, Jareth the Jerboa starts freaking out and just goes, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh Jesus fucking Christ! Oh my god!" Oh!
I grab his shoulders and say, "Relax. Settle down. You're not helping."
I'm freaking out, man.
I pull an uneaten half of a corn dog out of my pocket and offer it up to the ceiling to the Stick Man.
An arm reaches down, bending unnaturally, and grabs the corn dog, and you hear frustrated attempts to gnaw on it up in the dark of the ceiling.
Ew. Okay, I use my imagination and I create some flour in this flower sieve.
Okay. You do so, and I should say all of these constructs that you're making are the same greenish purplish color as all of the glowing you've been seeing. So you have a greenish purplish sieve with greenish purplish flour flowing through it.
So how far away is the ceiling? Is it quite high, or is it?
It is about the length of 2 men. Like from top to bottom, the elevator is about the length of 2 men. So there is probably about.
So it's quite high.
Yes.
All right. And does this thing keep flashing in and out? Like every time it flashes, can we kind of see
Yes,
it?
you can see glimpses of it moving. You can also hear it with every single movement it makes, because it makes this cracking sound with every single movement.
Every move it takes, every move it makes, every breath it takes.
Yes. During one of these flashes, while it's dark, you hear Tom with an H, Larkass, scream. And as the light comes on, you see that this long-limbed creature has managed to reach down from the ceiling, extending itself fully, and has grabbed him. And it throws him against the elevator doors. Moving with surprising deftness, it propels itself off the back wall and slams Tom's head into the elevator door again. And it starts trying to pry the elevator doors open while pressing Tom's head against it with its foot.
You really should do something about this. But, oh man, I've been hoping that guy would die.
Coco, just let it happen.
I stabbed the creature.
So you are attempting to stab the creature with your sword construct, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
With my sword construct.
All right. So I am going to need you to make a strength. Let's go with a strength check, just as if you were making a regular attack. Go ahead and use. Yeah, you can go ahead and use your strength modifier.
All right, 17.
17. All right, that hits. So go ahead and roll. Let's just go with 1d6 plus your strength modifier for the damage.
Sure. 7 damage.
You hear. I mean, it hits it, and it kind of goes straight through the creature, and it makes a loud cracking noise as it breaks its skin, and there is no blood, no viscera of any kind.
I want to use my second attack to dive at it and tackle it to the ground.
Okay, we'll do an athletics contest.
Oh, it beats me.
Hey Skumk, what are you doing right now?
I'm looking on, interested, trying to figure out. I'm just interested in what this thing is.
Well, while you're doing that, can you create a flint rock?
Do I have that ability?
No, that's a little too complicated for this system.
Give me fire, goddammit! I want some fire.
I create a free-floating fire.
Okay, well, it is a cold fire, much like the one that was on the torches down in the hallway. That cannot actually burn anything, but it does create a small amount of flickering illumination, which only serves to be slightly offbeat of the flickering emergency light, and the result is actually even more disturbing and disorienting. Coen attempts to grapple.
I spent a luck point to go again.
Okay,
Sorry.
all right.
Let's see. I rolled a critical 1. Yes.
Coen attempts to grapple the creature to the ground, but it throws him off by moving in an unusual way that he has never experienced a creature moving before.
Oh, does it throw me into the wall? I think that would look kind of cool.
It tosses you to the ground, and you're going to be prone for the next round.
Okay.
But it is momentarily distracted from its attempt at opening the elevator doors, but it is still pressing Tom's head against the elevator door with its foot.
Guys, I don't think we want to know what's behind the elevator doors. We need to stop it.
Agreed. So, and I look to everyone else in the car besides the 2 chucklefucks that I came here with. And desperately yell, "Does anyone have a lighter?"
And everybody, no, sorry, no.
Well, fuck.
No, we don't have a lighter.
I put the flour sieve and the flour in my bag and say, one day. And I use my imagination and I create an atlatl.
A what?
An atlatl.
An atlatl?
A spear thrower?
Oh, like the ancient Aztecs used to throw. Okay, yeah.
It's actually pronounced more like atlatl. So if you want to be fancy with it.
I don't want to be fancy with
Tom
it.
Larkas says, "Yeah, that's correct. That's the correct pronunciation of Atlat."
If you don't shut up, I'm gonna put this through your head. I swear to God.
Isn't he having his head jammed into an
Yeah,
elevator
he's
door
still
hole?
sorry. He's more that's the correct pronunciation of Atlat because his face is pressed against the elevator.
Still mansplaining. I'm impressed.
So, okay, you make this basically sling to throw an arrow.
Yeah, it's a stick on top of a bigger stick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, under a bigger stick with like a little lip to throw the bigger stick with.
Okay.
That's not too complicated for
Nope,
you.
that is fine. I'm gonna call this a deftness construct. So please go ahead and use dexterity plus your modifier.
Okay, and then wait a minute. As I do this, wait a minute, it's not finished. I concentrate, and a little laser pointer appears on the end, shining a little laser point on the monster.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna give you advantage.
Oh my
wow.
God! Yes. So, as I throw it through the air, I say, "1 shot, 1 kill, 1 Adelaide." Oh my God!
All right, so that's a 21.
21.
That hits. You just go ahead and do 1d6 plus your dexterity modifier.
6.
All right, 6 damage.
If I had a lighter, I could do a lot more damage.
Okay.
To everyone, probably.
Yeah.
It'll be really cool though.
It recoils and takes its foot off of Tom's head, and its attention is now focused on the people within the elevator that are not Tom. So Skumk.
I create a robot bird
Okay.
and I throw it at the thing.
You're gonna
At
give
the-
him that, but I can't have a lighter or a flint rock.
Okay, well, it is not. It's not really moving too much. It's moving.
It's more like a model of a bird.
just
Yeah,
looks
I mean,
like
it's
robot.
doing a very basic up-down motion, but it's basically just a thrown blunt object that that Skumk has created.
Are you trying to summon a bird, Scump? That's very
It's
sweet.
a hornbill.
1d20 plus your dexterity modifier.
11.
So the bird hits about a foot away from the creature, and it just kind of cricks its lopsided head over to look where it is. So it's actually momentarily distracted by the motion.
Sorry, bird.
So it starts moving towards the seats, and it moves forward, crawling on all fours, its head lolling around freely as it does so, crackling all the while. And it moves up on the seats towards, we're going to say towards Jelly. And it takes a swipe at Jelly. Well, it rolls a 10.
Wow.
And it attempts to swipe at you, but it hits one of the seats and and fails. And it goes.
So tell me, creature, what was your childhood like?
Well,
You see, I think a lot of your problem is coming from the fact that you have grown up with these outdated notions of like what gender is really.
It's not Davis F. Spaghetti.
While Jelly's distracting it with this, I'm gonna try and tackle it again.
Beat 11.
God damn it!
Oh, okay.
Should we roll again? We both rolled 11.
Ty usually goes to attacker.
You tackle the creature to the ground, and you can feel its cold skin almost snapping and bending beneath you, like it is breaking and reforming with each break into different angles. But it is on the ground, and you have managed to subdue it for now.
I'm just going to hold it so that others can attack it.
All right, Jelly.
These were being sold over infomercials a few years ago. I don't know if they actually exist anymore.
Okay.
But did you ever see? It's like 2 small like foam tubes, like those pool noodles, right? So you get 2 of those, and you like sew them up in like a cloth tube, right? So there's two of these things in. So So the idea is you slide them under a door in the crack of a door to keep air from coming out. I want to make one of these and I want to stick it in the crack of the elevator door.
Okay. I think that's a very good idea. Yeah, you can do that, and you block the light from shining through the elevator door, so you don't have the eerie purple greenish glow anymore.
I look at the broken body of Spaghetti Squash, and I'm like, maybe it was a coincidence.
Well, the body of Spaghetti Squash is no longer there. There's only the stick man.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Spaghetti Squash turned into.
It's like a xenomorph situation. You don't say John Hurt became the xenomorph.
It didn't like crawl out of his
because
body.
It
It didn't crawl out of his body,
didn't it?
It transformed. He transformed. Skumk, would you like to do anything to this prone stick man?
No. I create a really heavy object that's molded to its body. So it's on top of it, but it's not like squishing it. It's just really heavy and holding it in place.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and say it's subdued then. Although if anything like breaks your concentration or you make another construct, that will disappear.
Oh, my bird disappeared?
Yeah, your bird disappeared when you did this.
Oh.
Only make one at a time. Okay. So the stickman is currently subdued, and you're in a darkened elevator with a blinking emergency light, and it is motionless. From outside the
I get off it and stand up.
Yeah.
Thing, because I was literally on top of it when Skumk melted, and I kind of kick it in the head.
Wow,
casually, but
jeez,
not with too much
Don't
malice.
do that.
Hey, vengeance paladin.
Okay.
Yeah, you're a vengeance paladin, not an asshole paladin.
I pet it on the head.
It makes pleased groans as you pet its head. From outside, you can hear moaning from outside the building. Actually, it's loud enough that you can hear it. And you can hear crackling coming from outside as well.
Is Alex Jones still alive? I go check him.
He's dazed since his head was smashed against elevator doors a couple of times, and he's how about
I create another
horse
atlatl
apples?
and I aim it right down at his head. And say, Coen, stand back.
I grab the piece of paper off him and take it to the drow.
Okay.
What was his name? Jeff? Jeff Goldblum?
Dick Morcandus.
Oh.
And
all right. And I say, "Hey, Jeff."
Dick. That's okay. If you want to call me Jeff, you can call me Jeff.
Look, I'm not good with names. Can you make any head nor tails of this?
No.
You seem smart.
Linguistics was never my forte. I'm more of a weird sciences guy. But I actually do have a theory that might be able to help us get out of this mess. The machinery that operates this elevator, it's probably somewhere attached to the elevator itself. If we can get a hold of that, we might be able to get out of this pickle.
I'm gonna have a look around.
Okay.
See if I can.
You want to do a perception check?
14.
That's enough for you to notice that while the walls of the elevator are smooth, except for the elevator doors that are front pointing to the outside of the building, you notice that there is a hatch on the top of the elevator, on the ceiling of the elevator. There's a hatch.
All right. Somebody want to stand on my shoulders and see if they can reach that hatch?
Yes. And I stand on his shoulder.
All right. I give Jelly a boost up.
So the hatch, you see that there is a sort of hexagonal hole in the top of the hatch and no clear way to grasp onto its sides and pull it down.
What do you see, Jelly?
I don't know. I'm not really certain what I'm looking at. Some stuff.
So hang on, what was that again? It was a,
You see
hexagonal
in the center
hole.
of the hatch, there's a hexagonal hole, and no real way to grab onto the edges of the hatch and pull it down.
So this is
up above you.
Okay, above me.
So could she reach into the hexagonal hole?
It is small enough as if a tool needs to be inserted into it.
Oh, I create an Allen wrench.
Oh.
Okay. You.
Except they're called Jonathan wrenches in this world.
Oh, I thought you were talking about in Australia. I was like, well,
he's taking
weird.
the piss.
Like,
no, this is fantasy world. They're called Jonathan wrenches.
Australia isn't real.
So
like,
your atlatl disappears when you do this, but you create a Jonathan wrench that is the exact proportions of the hole.
I turn it or push it, whatever I need to do.
All right, you push it up there and turn it. You hear the clicking of a mechanism, and the hatch starts lowering down as if on pneumatics, fantasy pneumatics, and little
sprites inside on bicycles.
Yes, they're slowly lowering it on ropes. And you see there is a cylinder set on the top of this hatch that's lowering down. And it is glowing the same greenish purplish color and sparking. And there are 5 sigils on this cylinder.
Holy fuck.
And each sigil has a switch below it.
Uh-huh.
Now, before you start doing anything with this, the elevator starts rocking, and you hear
if it's a rockin',
and you hear the crackling sound of stickmen from outside the elevator walls, and from outside they start pounding on the walls and shaking the elevator, and one manages to break through a weak section of the wall, and a red arm starts extending through the hole and grasping around.
I create a bit of wall to replace that bit of wall using my brain.
I create some stucco. And
does it chop its arm off?
It traps it in place. And when you do that, your sword disappears.
Oh yeah. Just looking around, what are the people doing? Like, what are the little girls doing? Just out of curiosity.
So little girls are just sitting in their seat, and they look at you at the same time, and in unison say, "We're going to die."
They're not wrong.
Tom is still lying dazed on the floor. Sigrid,
I'm disappointed you didn't kill him.
Sigrid is wandering around, and she's looking very intently at the walls, as if she's trying to figure out how to fortify things. Jareth the Jerboa is sitting in the corner, is no longer freaking out, but is just watching the proceedings going down. And Dick Morcandus is standing close to you all and observing the Goodfrumda machine.
Wait a minute.
I lower Jelly down so we can all have a look at this cylinder thing.
All right.
Okay, but I want to flip some switches.
Okay, so there are 5 symbols on this cylinder.
Okay. The Green Lantern core, the Red Lantern core, the Sinestro core.
One is a double-sided arrow piercing through concentric circles, and that is a 3-way switch. There's a slider switch that shows concentric circles with large gaps between them. There's another slider switch that shows concentric circles with narrower gaps between them. There is a 2-way, or there's an arrow pointing up. There's a 2-way switch, and there's an arrow pointing down. That is also a 2-way switch.
Okay,
I
what was the first
turned
one?
the last 2-way switch the other direction.
The one that's pointing down?
Yes.
Okay, so it is in the down position, and you flip it up?
Yes.
Okay, everybody starts floating. You float up to the middle of the elevator.
Nice.
But this also means that the construct that is holding the stickman down floats off of it, and it struggles out of the weight. and it is now floating
switch it back?
in the middle and grappling wildly. Yeah, you can switch it back.
Okay, I do that.
So
We all
fall
flat on our faces.
everybody falls onto their butts, and the heavy weight topples onto the stick man, trapping it back in place. But it does take some damage because it doesn't fit on it perfectly like you molded it. So it's gonna takes 4 damage.
What's that? What was the first one again, Michael?
So the first one was a double-sided arrow piercing through concentric circles, and that is a 3-way switch. So it can go up, middle, down. It's in the middle right now.
What's the second one?
The second one was concentric circles with large gaps between them.
And what kind of switch is that?
Concentric just means circles inside each other.
Yes,
Is that right?
correct.
Yes. The second one, what kind of switch is that?
That is a slider switch.
I slide it.
All right. How far do you slide it?
All the way. I want to die in glory.
No middle sliders.
So you slide the switch all the way, and nothing inside of the elevator seems to change, but the rocking outside of it seems to have stopped, or is at least slowed down considerably. And the groaning of the stickmen outside seems to have taken on a deeper sound, as if they've been slowed down.
Oh, cool. I love it. I'm a master of time and space.
Does the stick man that's in there with us look any different?
No, it does not.
Oh.
Okay, so we have one that...
Well, don't touch that switch
okay, so
again.
we can control gravity, time outside, and...
Double-sided arrow. No. What's the third one?
The third one is concentric circles with narrower gaps between them. So the one that slowed down time was larger gaps between the circles. The third one has narrower gap.
What kind of switch?
It's also a slider switch.
I wonder if that will speed things up.
I'm gonna do one now. I'm gonna flick the double-sided arrow one.
Okay.
Up.
Upwards. All right. You flip it upwards, and everything seems to jump inside of the elevator. The people who are wandering around suddenly flick to another part of the elevator, as if it is just they've jumped forward to the direction they were going in.
Like a video or that's like missing a frame.
Like
yes.
the Adam Sandler movie with the remote control.
Correct.
Something about what it's
and
called. The remote control or something. I don't know what it's called.
Strangely, in this flicking forward, there is now a construct of an axe that is hacking open the weight that's on top of the stickman.
What? It's just floating in the air?
It is. The axe is currently hacking open the thing that is on top of the stickman, trying to free
Which
it.
one haven't we pressed yet?
So
the third one and the fourth one.
Yeah, you have not pressed the one with the concentric circles with narrower gaps between them, or the one that's an arrow pointing down.
I pressed
up. You
pressed
did
the
arrow pointing
narrow
down.
gap one.
Well, I guess it's a slider. How far do you slide that slider?
Halfway.
Oh, no. Go all the way or go home.
So the elevator starts rocking more vigorously, and the pounding from outside seems to speed up, and more arms burst through the walls of the elevator.
Slide it back right the fuck now.
Do you
I slide it back
Skumk?
form. I don't wait.
So the arms slow back down to the slower point, although they're inside the elevator now, so actually they are moving at the same speed as everything inside the elevator. So there are now arms on just about every side of the elevator, and you can hear cracking, I mean, just almost deafening cracking coming from what would be the front of the building outside the elevator doors.
I have something I want to do. Okay. It's going to be a twofold thing. Okay. I want to create a perfect, me-sized foam mat under me.
Okay.
Okay. Or just a pile of pillows or whatever. Right.
Okay.
And
under you. Okay.
and the switch
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the one pointing up is the one we haven't done anything with yet?
Correct.
So what I do is I flip it. It can only, it's like in the down position, so it can only go up, right? Okay, so I flick it up and I brace myself.
And I put my finger on the gravity button.
Everybody hits the top of the elevator as if gravity has been completely reversed, and the heavy weight holding the stick man down is now upside down, so it is attempting to crawl out.
What happens to the arms?
Okay, so that is actually an interesting thing. And so when you all hit the top of the elevator, it jerks upward. And because of the differences in time within and without of the elevator and moving it, all of the arms have been sliced off and have fallen to the ground.
That is exactly what I hoped would happen.
And interestingly, Dick Morcandus was going to explain. He's been rather quiet. You seem to have blundered into what he was going to explain to you. That he had a theory, which he's going to tell you right now.
I create a rug that's surrounding the monster, like a big heavy rug.
Okay,
Like
you roll it up
like he's wrapped,
a heavy
like
carpet.
he's wrapped.
Oh,
up
I thought you
in a
were just
carpet,
creating
yeah.
this under his feet. I was like, well, it really ties the elevator
No.
together. But
I just want to slow him down a bit.
Actually, before Dick says anything, I want you to do a quick perception check.
Everybody?
Yep, everybody do a quick perception check.
Natural 20.
All right.
Ooh.
So, Skumk, you notice this more than everyone else. Everybody who's been standing near this machine in the center, which is all of you, and Dick, look at your hands and you realize that they are starting to turn red. And the skin is starting to get hard.
I lick them.
It tastes slightly of wood, and you realize that it is the same. What is the word? Same texture as the stick man.
Well, now we don't have to fight him anymore.
Dick, who is also turning red, says, I have a theory, and this ties into my studies at the university when I'm not creating female golems that look too much like my mom for me to be comfortable with. And
Shut up, nerd man, and just tell us your theory.
I have a theory that we can get out of this mess.
does it involve just smashing the thing?
I believe that we can create a time tunnel of some sort. And I think we may have already created something similar to that by altering the time within and without of the elevator. And shifting it in space. We should have ruptured time and space. If somebody can jump through that ruptured area, pass through this. I guess we've created a sort of membrane between times here. I think they could, I don't know where they would end up though, but I think they could maybe escape.
So you want us to flip a bunch of switches really quickly and then jump through a hole?
Where's the ruptured membrane?
It should be all around us, actually. Just outside the elevator walls.
So you want us to go outside?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Look, if you're going through there, I'm going through there. I'm not gonna let you get yourself killed in like a time tunnel without me.
But there's something very important I need to tell you before anything. And then he's cut off as a spear construct flies through his chest and pins him to the wall.
I'm gonna look to see who's concentrating. Is somebody else in the room? Like, has anybody got a constipated sort of look on their face?
I create an atlatl and I turn around quickly and I look at the man in the suit and I aim it at him.
Yeah.
Whoa,
That's my thought.
Whoa.
I know it's you.
What?
It was you the whole time.
What?
Take off your mask and show us.
That's crazy.
I walk over to him and I take his mask off.
You try to remove the mask, but it is actually connected by there is no clear way to remove it.
Cut it open.
Hold on now. Hold on.
All right, hang on.
Listen, it's
There's
you.
an easy way to solve this.
Listen, Mouse Man.
Um,
if it comes down between you or me,
Jelly.
it's gonna be me every fucking time.
Jelly. There's an easy way to solve this. Hey, mascot, whatever your name was.
Jareth the Jerboa, it's gonna catch on.
Jerboa.
Just you give it time.
Make something with your mind.
Like what? I can't. I mean,
I
you know,
don't care.
it's one of those
A
things.
Take a
paperweight.
Jerboa.
Concentrate on a paperweight.
Um.
And I
Okay.
shake him
All right.
and intimidate him.
I'm under a lot of pressure right now. It's hard to summon.
I'm gonna start cutting off fingers if you don't.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay. And a giant pair of scissors appear, and the spear vanishes and
Yes!
starts cutting open the carpet that that's holding the stickman in place.
I throw Jerboa guy into the wall
Oh!
to try and break his concentration.
Does
You want a strength check or something?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead and do a strength check.
17.
4. So he hits the wall and collapses to the ground. And the scissors are still there, cutting open the carpet, and they free the stick
I
man.
think we made a mistake.
Damn it.
And the stick man lunges for Skumk, who created the construct to hold it down. It doesn't understand the mercy that Skumk was trying to give it.
What if they're the good guys?
I doubt it.
And it takes a swing at Skumk and rolls a 7.
That's a miss.
So I'm going to guess 7 does
Yeah.
not beat your AC.
No.
And it
My AC is terrible, but it's not that terrible.
it swings at you and misses, Skumk. So right now
Yeah.
you have Dick is dead. Tom is lying on the ground dazed. So the Jerboa is passed out. And so you now have Sigrid, who is staring at the walls, and observing the hands of the stickmen, and you have the creepy twins in the far corner, and they look at you, and
I think it's the twins.
I create 2 Ataladdles and I point one at
You can only create one
Shut
thing
the
at a
fuck
time.
I point one at the twins and
they look at you and say, "Have you seen our mommy?"
No.
I don't like kids.
Okay.
I've never liked kids. So please don't give me a legitimate excuse to just Ataladdle one right in the face.
So what you do?
I walk over to, what's her name? Sigourney
Sigourney Weaver.
Sigrid Thornton, Aussie actress. And I say, look, I need to. Are the scissors still floating?
The scissors have vanished.
Oh, okay. This is the problem. Forget that. I attack the.
Yeah, I love that we're having all this conversation while Skumk is getting torn apart by a Demogorgon.
Okay, so you attack the monster.
Does the thing get an attack on Skumk? Because you said it.
It tried and missed.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. The thing is ridiculously weak. I do a cool sort of swing with my arms, and as I do, a sword kind of forms out of my hand, and I stab with it. Like I turn my arm into a blade.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So go ahead and do. Okay, cool. That hits. Do 1d6 plus your strength.
9 damage.
All right. So it hasn't. It's not dead, but
I have a second attack.
Okay. Well, pieces are falling off of it, and it is looking haggard.
And I strike again.
All right, you hit.
Another 7.
So it it lets out a hiss and collapses to the ground motionless. The stickman is dead.
I look at the twins and Sigrid say, okay, I'm going to... You know what? There are things far worse than an Adelalal to the face. So, if you don't, we can end this right now. You can just tell me which one of you is the traitor. Otherwise, gonna be forced to use other methods.
The twins just turn their heads and look at you and say, "Do you want to play with us?" And Sigrid just shakes her head and says, "War's hell. War's hell."
Okay, you asked for it.
I rolled an insight roll.
Uh-huh.
And used my luck point to reroll. I rolled an insight roll and rolled 18 to see, like, which one do I trust?
All right. Well, the twins are giving you a very uncomfortable feeling, but you get the sense that
they have right from the start.
Yeah, exactly. You get the sense that that's just kind of what they're like. But you also get kind of a strange feeling off of Sigrid that makes you feel uncomfortable in like a way that, you know, you get the sense that she is not being forthright.
I turned to
Okay, I say, well, you asked for it. And the Adelatl in my hand like just turns into green energy and shrinks down, and I'm holding a kazoo. I put the kazoo in my mouth and I just blow on it a single a single dull note continuously, just like, and I just stare at both of them intently.
Okay, so a pair of pliers appear in the air and pluck the kazoo out of your hand.
I walk over to
Sigrid.
What's her name? Sigrid.
You feel much stiffer as you walk towards her, and you feel a great degree of difficulty, and you're cracking as you move towards her.
Oh, I look at my hand,
and is it
cracking?
You see
up?
that your skin is turning into red platelets, and as you move your fingers, they break slightly and reform, and it is excruciatingly painful.
Ah, oh, Sigrid, what's going on?
She just looks at you and says, I don't know what's going on, but chaos reigns, and I think that's a good thing.
That's valid.
Look, I overheard that you were traumatized from the war, or some war.
I wasn't really in the war. I've never been in the war. I make that up because, I don't know, people pity me more when I say that, when I say I'm a soldier. I don't know, I get away with things.
The kazoo disappears in the air.
Look.
And a string of pearls forms around my neck, and I clutch them. It's like, you lied to me? But I thought we had something.
I say, look, if you want somebody who'll, feel something for you, and I just kind of look towards Jelly, like, she's got, emotions and stuff. She could help.
I create a second string of pearls and clutch that one.
At this moment, Sigrid charges towards you, Coen, and attempts to grapple you to the ground.
Create a banana peel on the floor.
Am I weaker or anything because of this slow cracking?
I'm going to give you disadvantage. So that was actually supposed to be +5, so 16. So go ahead and do a
16, sure. Well, disadvantage 10.
10. All right. So Sigrid manages to tackle you to the ground and starts slamming your head against the elevator floor. And
can't we talk about this?
And Garbager pipes up at this moment and says, I really think that one of us needs to get out of here right now. I don't know what what we can do, but I mean, I feel like that's our only chance. Even if we stop her, we're all still changing, and that's bad. That's not good. And I don't even know what's out there, but I have a feeling our only chance right now is for someone to pass through the walls.
Okay.
To get through.
How do we do that?
Can I have a floor for a second? Okay. I walk over to Garbager. Along the way, I create a pillow under Coen's face. and I just take Garbager by the shoulders and say, "Listen, it's too late for us, Garbager, but we can clear the way for you."
You're always. Oh, that's funny. And as Coen's getting his head slammed into a pillow, he's saying, "Just press some buttons, break reality.
Let's flip some switches.
Press." Dum.
Garbager says, I can stay here and flip the switches. Jelly, I think you should go.
Me? Sacrifice myself for the group in a daringly heroic manner?
I'll go.
That doesn't sound like me at all. And I push Skumk aside.
Skumk stands
and
in
say,
front.
"But if that is what it is needed of me, I will make that sacrifice."
I just want to say it's actually not because you're brave. You just seem to be the less transformed at this moment, and I think you can hold on longer than the others.
I don't really want to go, but if nobody else wants to go, I'll go.
Your expend, thump, a bull, thump.
Say, "Fine, I will go."
There are weak areas in the walls of the elevator, and there are small holes in them, but there are none large enough for you to get through.
Okay, we need to make a big hole.
I've had enough of having my head smacked, so I'm gonna roll to throw
Okay.
this girl off me and into the wall. I get disadvantage, but I'm gonna use my luck point to turn that into advantage.
Okay.
It makes 26.
All right, I got a 15. So you throw her off, and she tumbles against the far wall, and she turns, and suddenly a pair of spreaders like the ones that Davis was using earlier appear on the elevator door, and she starts cranking it open, and the light starts pouring through.
I create some sunglasses.
I create a solid block on the spreaders to stop them from being able to work.
Okay. I would like you to do a quick strength. Just D20
sure.
plus your strength modifier, and you don't need to do disadvantage with this one.
I want to try and force one of the holes to make it bigger,
Okay.
so that Jelly can go through.
Well, you're creating that block, so...
Well, I think he means just using his hands.
Oh, I mean, you can do something. Go on. If
Oh, I
you've got a
yeah,
force.
go
was just
ahead,
gonna say,
Kelly.
I create an axe, and I just start chopping at that hole.
Do you stick your head through the hole and say
Yes.
anything?
Say, "Here's Jelly!"
Excellent.
And while Jelly's doing that, I tackle Sigrid to stop her from doing more damage.
All right. Okay, that's 10 versus 19.
That's not
18. Okay.
10, yeah.
So you fail to tackle Sigrid, and she keeps trying to widen this door. She is not succeeding fully because of the construct you made, but more of this light is managing to pour into the elevator, and your transformation has accelerated. And everybody within the elevator is now turning red all over their bodies.
Well, you can't really tell with me.
Oh, Jelly's already red, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, I feel fine, guys.
So can Jelly get through?
So Jelly, I think we can say it's probably wide enough for a Jelly to go
Okay.
through.
Oh, wait a minute. I know what I do. Okay. When I see that the hole is big enough for me to get through, the axe disappears, and in my hand... Actually, no, is it too stupid? Yes, it is too stupid, so I'm going to do it. Okay. The axe disappears in my hands, and instead a small, baseball-sized red and white ball appears in my hand, and I turn around and I throw it at Sigrid and try and hit her in the face with it.
Okay. All right. Do a quick dexterity. D20 plus dex.
14.
All right. Yep, that's enough. It hits her in the face and the spreaders vanish, but it's kind of irrelevant because everybody is now in a state of transformation that seems to be irreversible.
Go through the hole.
Garbager manages to climb up near the Godfromde machine, and with the last bit of his sanity and strength starts fiddling with the switches. Time seems to flash forward and backwards and speed up and slow down, and the gravity shifts up and around and things are going crazy.
I like grab like the rim of the hole and pull myself forward as I'm transforming, and as time and gravity is going crazy. And just before I throw myself at the hole, I look back at my party and say, "Hey, don't worry. When I'm in the past, I'll make sure to tell you how cool I was."
Is that how this works?
And I throw myself through the hole.
Well, this is all deeply theoretical, Skumk. But Dick Morcandus seemed to think it was the last chance to use the Godfromde machine to do this. So,
all right, I'll take it.
So you see a Technicolor wonderland as you pass through this time tunnel. Lights and unusual spatial arrangements flash behind your eyes. You pass a bookcase and you see a little girl on the other side of it, and you think briefly about stopping and maybe pushing the books off in an arrangement that would tell her something, but you move on past the bookcase. As you're moving, you do feel yourself transforming even further.
And you're like, find me in the future.
Yes.
No, it's a field, and you just say, if you build it, they will
I look
come.
And I see some small green beans that look like plungers with hands on the top and an eye in the center. Just like, what? Huh?
You briefly pass through Whoopi Goldberg while she's helping in a pottery class.
I am momentarily aware of what it is like to be Patrick Swayze experiencing the height of physical pleasure. And I zoom past, and I pass a kid in a puffy orange vest, and I hand him a letter.
Then all of the lights disappear, and it's dark, and you realize you have transformed almost fully. You can barely move, and you are in mostly darkness, but you can see below you that there are flickering torches with a cold light, and there are people passing below you. And you see a small halfling pop out of a coffin and say, "Blah!" And the group starts talking to him. And you have just a small amount of sanity left. You don't fully understand who these people are or what they're doing, but you have one chance to do
Michael,
something.
This is going to be stupid and maybe not what you had planned for.
As long as you disrupt things somehow.
Please let me have this.
Okay. All right.
I reach in my pocket and I pull out a stick of butter. And with my stick hitman hand, I scratch into the butter itself a note. And I drop it into the scene in front of me.
Okay. Coen, Skumk, and Jelly, you are standing in a hallway, and a stick of butter falls in front of you. Just after you heard a strange clicking sound on the ceiling of the hallway. Do you read the stick of butter?
Sure.
Yeah, I pick it up.
All right. Coen, I guess Jelly should tell us what the stick of butter says.
I could ruin this. But no, butterfly effect. Even the smallest, most insignificant change will have drastic consequences. And this is what it says. Coen, you look at the stick of butter, and crudely scratched into the surface of the stick is the words, "Sup, my dudes."
I kind of look at it, sort of mull on the words for a few seconds. And then I just chomp on the stick of butter.
Coen, you get a terrible gastrointestinal distress from eating the stick of butter, and you feel your bowels feel horrible.
Oh, guys, I don't think I can go on this ride. Can I use the toilet in your orphanarium? I really don't want to use the public toilet here.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, just try not to disrupt the orphans too much.
Yeah. All right.
So Coen has the piece of parchment on his person as he leaves. So the rest of you, if you want to ride the high rise of horror,
Sure.
Doesn't really. You know what? Sure, why not?
Seems fun.
all right. So Davis F's Spaghetti Squash, who is now alive and well because of the magic of time travel, says, "Let's go. Any inquiries?"
No way.
And that
And it fades.
and
And then we get a blackout.
and a piece of butter melts and forms into a question mark, and is this the end?
Wow, that's spooky.
And all of that is conveniently never happened, and that's why you don't remember it in the rest of the Landy World adventure.
Yeah.
Real quick, let's do some plugs and
Some
stuff.
plugs.
And we're gonna. So I hope everybody enjoyed this this holiday diversion that we've had.
Ooh.
I hope it was all okay without Stan. I am Michael M. Rader. You can find find my podcast. We'll get it right next scare. Scare Venture and Scarenema. In which I and my co-host spend a year trying to guess the plot of a movie. This year we're doing We Bought a Zoo,
Which is scary enough. It's evidently a movie about
huge
zombies
financial-
taking over the world and some kind of death cult.
And I also just recently sold a short scary story to a publisher called Riddled with Arrows. And that's going to go live on Halloween. So go to, I don't actually know the website. Just search for Riddled with Arrows journal in Google. And I should be in the most recent issue. And that should be free. You should be able to read that. Happy Halloween!
Oh, I've been Scarvin Skark.
I've been Bogey Boils.
I've been Heathen. I've never said my last name on this podcast, so I will not do that.
Nice.
Die on, you
slice,
hideous night
Slice
birds.
on, you beautiful, scary birds. And thanks for all the spaghetti, but we can't see the spaghetti, so we think it's brains.
Oh, this podcast was edited by Michael M. Rader. Thank you, Michael. Our music was by possibly, who knows what our music was by? Maybe Ron Vuvovich? It usually is. All right, thanks, bye.